Have a motion to exit closed session.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Thank you. Motion to certify.
So
Move
moved.
to certify closed meeting as provided in the agenda.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Chair Miller,
Aye.
Vice Chair Travis.
Aye.
Director Farrell,
Aye.
Director Johnson.
Aye.
Director Broughton.
Aye.
And Director Stan.
Thank you. I'll move to general business.
All right. The first item on general business is disaster recovery funding through Noway of Southwest Virginia. Chris, would you like to go over this?
Happy to actually get to present officially to you. We have been working with the United Way of Southwest Virginia and their entity. Post Helene, they received a lot of donations, and part of their mission, they receive donations and they find the right way to distribute them and invest them. So as part of Hurricane Helene's recovery efforts, they have worked with all of the localities in Southwest Virginia. And we worked with them, and the board signed a memorandum of understanding last spring for a little over $19,000 of donation money, private donations that came in, and then they have to be distributed according to policies and expectations. So and I think Rachel just posted earlier today, but the actual MOU, but it really just sets up us receiving the money and how we're allowed to disperse it and what qualifies. So it's very similar to CARES Act money and other things that have funneled through the EDA, in that the county itself cannot write checks to individual citizens or contractors. So we have to funnel that money through the EDA, just like your facade grants and other things. So what it establishes is you have to have complete or substantial damage to your home. It has to be a single family home, and it had to be owner occupied. And we had about 5 homes along the New River within the county that met those requirements that are also single family owner occupied. And there's a number of homes, but they're rental or second homes, vacation kind of stuff, camps. So we do have an applicant that is still working on their recovery effort to get their homes fully repaired, and they've worked with all the different FEMA and their insurance company. And so for this individual ask is for a check to be written for $14,186.24 to New River Building Supply. The United Way, very similar to us, they don't write a check to an individual homeowner, so it's either to a contractor that they've done the work and now we're reimbursing them, or to a company. In this case, is all the materials and supplies for the work to be done. So this has been vetted fully through the United Way. They have what they call their citizen recovery program, and it's a formal process where eligible folks can apply. Well, people can apply. They determine their eligibility, and they worked in this case with us because we had the donation money that appeared to qualify for this person. So we vetted it, they have vetted it, and in the end, we would request approval for a $14,000 check. The Board of Supervisors appropriated the money last month to the EDA, so in essence, the money's sitting in your all's account, and then we would just process that through the finance office with your all's approval. I think that's about all I really had.
So what's the difference between this 14,000 and the 19,000?
So 14 would come out of the 19. So we have, the pot of money is $19,000 and this would approve 14,000 to come out of that. And we'd have for one project that was eligible.
And this is one house out of 5 that are
Correct.
eligible.
Correct. And we've communicated, they have received letters, they know, they know the resources that are out there. And this is actually the first one that has reached out to ask for additional help. And that's where you start layering up. FEMA has done a certain amount. People's homeowners insurance or private flood insurance has done certain amounts. And usually it never makes you whole. So in this case, there's a specific construction component that this would fund for that homeowner.
So Chris, do the remaining funds get applied, go to a second homeowner? The difference
that
between the
again, sorry?
19, difference between the 19 and the 14, do they stay in the fund until?
It would
the
just
second?
stay in the fund until we had another request. And I think United Way's goal is about a 24-month window post the event. And we're a little over 1 year. So ideally, we would try to get the rest of this, distributed to those homes in need. So
How was the 19 and change determined?
United Way did some assessments of damage across all of our communities in Southwest Virginia, and divvied it up as so we had to submit like a damage report to them, and our report said we had 5 homes compared to a Giles or a Pulaski. Just in our experience from like the emergency management side, they had significantly more damage, both in Pulaski and Giles, compared to us. We lucked out. There was definitely damage, but our portion of the river is pretty sparse compared to some of the stuff in Giles.
So there won't be any more money that you know of.
We do not expect any more money, correct?
So one project's taking 80% of it,
Yeah,
and if the others come in, there will only be whatever's left.
correct.
But they knew.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So presumably the other
it's
projects.
a valid
are small.
observation, but as far as, we feel comfortable, it is first come, first serve, and it's kind of the nature of that business part to it, but in terms of, it's been a year plus, and there's other pots of money that others have tapped into that didn't require this type of approval, and nobody's reached out yet, so. And we try to do our part. There's also a big Virginia Disaster Assistance Fund that the Regional Commission, there's a gentleman, Patrick, who's helping, and that's several $1 million that the state approved. And that's, so there's a number of funds out there for a lot of both Helene, and then there was a flood in February of last year, kind of a bad winter storm. That had also some major flood damage that the state has been supporting, and they put those 2 storms together for some funding. So the United Way has access to those funds as well as their donation fund. So there's a lot of entities with different resources and perspectives to help people. So this would just be a vote from you all.
Anybody have any more questions about this? So do we have a motion to approve the memo?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You saw in the financial statements, that we are receiving funds for the facade grant. Brenda, you wanna go over the facade grant?
Yes, the town of Blacksburg and the EDA entered into a facade grant agreement on 12/27/24 as a reimbursement program. This has been a little over a year. But the applicant, the one receiving the loan, would pay all the design and construction expenses related to the improvements to the exterior facades of an existing commercial building. And then the town of Blacksburg actually received 30 applications. They awarded 16 of these applications for a total of $159,746. The town of Blacksburg to date has contributed $22,996 to the EDA as a pass-through, so that we can write checks to the companies. The EDA has deposited these funds and checks. We've cut checks to 4 companies identified by the town of Blacksburg. And the EDA is waiting for the town of Blacksburg to submit the remaining funds and the company information to close out the agreement. So as the money comes in, we just put it in the EDA bank account and then we'll write the checks out. The town of Blacksburg actually tells us exactly who, they send us the agreement with the applicant. And then it's just a pass-through, just like all the other grants that we did.
I believe it was shown in the financial report. wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what time period do we expect Blacksburg will come deposit the rest of the monies?
It's my understanding they haven't given us an exact timeline yet. They're working on another round of grants because they funded 16 companies and we've only done 4. I guess they're doing the rest of their due diligence and we will fund those as soon as we get another check from them and the company information. We'll go ahead and cut the rest of the checks. But I don't know that we're gonna receive it all. It'll probably be a few more weeks or months or something. We're not sure.
We tried to get all the funds allocated up, so we don't have to write multiple deposits and checks, but thus far it's just been the 4.
So they've got 12 more outstanding and
Right.
dribble in over the next few weeks or months. Okay.
Right.
I mean, why we're involved in this? I mean, it's Blacksburg money going to Blacksburg business.
Well, right, the town of Blacksburg can't write checks. It's just a pass.
We can do economic development grants, and that's the cleanest way for the pass-through to occur.
Has the EDA
Seems
ever
like the long way
considered not just being a pass-through, but also contributing funds to projects like this that have an economic development benefit?
So we have talked to other communities that do this because we have the MBC Development Fund. Loan funds, generally asset-based, $50,000 to $100,000 loans. That's not a lot of money. Montgomery County itself does not support retail. And so a lot of these operations are retail-based. Town of Christiansburg does it, the town of Blacksburg does it. And so that's where if we were to do something of a grant nature, it'd probably lean more towards manufacturing. Like Roanoke County has a special program for small manufacturers or something similar.
Roanoke has programs, incentive programs for retailers, right?
Yes,
So
Roanoke City,
there is
Roanoke County does, yeah.
Precedent for EDAs working with retailers.
As of right now, there's not a precedent in Montgomery County.
Right, but there is in Roanoke.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Town of Christiansburg also has a facade grant program, right? Are
They
we
do.
working with them in the same way?
So,
They're not passed through us, it's their,
I have no comment.
it's my understanding that the way that their grant works, they don't feel that they need to pass it through us, but the town of Blacksburg feels like the way theirs is set up, they do, and we've done this before, as we've discussed with COVID and other grants. How was that? Fair enough?
I think they may have suspended it right now, I'm not sure.
There's some issues of some sort. I don't follow, but
Do we need to take any action on this?
no, this is just for your information. You
Okay.
approved it in December of '24. Excuse me. Falling Branch Phase 2, Site 2, what's in green is what's new, but basically, Main Street Builders, of course, has wrapped up the grading on Lot 2, Phase 2. The water line has been accepted by the town of Christiansburg. We're working on getting the road accepted by the town of Christiansburg. And goal is to get the natural gas line in the spring, April, May, hopefully. And then we're working with the town of Christiansburg and DEQ on our pump station, which is, as a reminder, 25,000 gallons per day. And so right now, H&P is doing the as-built topo. So you take what the original plan was and make sure it all has consistent elevations. H&P is finding that Main Street Builders is going to have to go back and do some adjustments, raise some elevations, like behind the pond, the stormwater pond is low. Other things are too high. So the main site is good, but there are some elevations. The only one that may be a little tricky is the 200 feet of the overall roughly 2,200 linear feet of water line. It doesn't have enough cover. So they're gonna have to go back and do that. None of these are hard. When they work on the seating, they can fix this as well.
What does that mean exactly, the cover? What is that? What is the cover exactly?
That means they didn't bury it deep enough
Oh, they didn't bury it deep enough.
in certain places. But you can add dirt to the top as well.
Except it changes the elevation.
They've got plenty of excess dirt, so it should be a big deal.
Yeah, we've got a whole mound of excess dirt. And so, a little bit to cover up that part of the water line wouldn't be that big a deal. The water line is supposed to be 3 feet minimum. All right. And so this is what the graded pad's supposed to look like. So where the stormwater pond is located towards the back, again, too low towards the rear, a little high in the front. Nothing that can't be fixed, but it's just part of the punch list to wrap it up. Anybody else have any questions? And I think this, with the substation and I-81 exit 118A, we haven't really had a red line boundary, so we did this for one of the prospects we discussed earlier. Last but not least, broadband. Carl?
So not a whole lot construction wise, having had the holidays and the January that we had. But the Christiansburg Town Council approved Gigabeam's franchise agreement at their February 3rd public hearing, and that's just a pass-through agreement. And Blacksburg Town Council has it on their schedule for March 10th. The passings remain unchanged, but AEP segment construction was almost complete when we last met. It's complete now. Splicing is the main piece left on that. And then AEP has around 30 poles left of distribution work. And just to give you a little perspective, when they first did their plans, they thought they'd have 415 poles that needed repairs or replacement, and then it'll end up being closer to 575. So they have less than 30 left, actually. I think it's 29. So hopefully we have more weather like this. And
So, let me ask you a question. I've seen the cable. It does not look like optical fiber. It looks like high frequency coax. Do we know is it supposed to be optical? Because
It's all
what I've seen
fiber.
in the ground does not look like optical. And I've spent 40 years doing optics, fiber optics.
Well, we have not, so we don't have your expertise, but they tell us that it is optic.
yep,
Fiber
they
optic.
tell us that.
And that's what they turned into DHCD to get grant reimbursed. They come out first with the conduit, and the
I
conduit,
understand.
yeah.
So there's black cable. It's got metal sheathing, and then it's got dielectric, and then down in the middle it's got another conductor. I didn't see any glass anywhere. I went out there and started to cut a piece off and take it inside and look at it,
So I have
but I decided not to do that.
That's a good move.
I have a picture of a cut piece if you want to look at it, and then when we reimburse their remittances, we get all their invoices and stuff. So I mean, that's
Well, my question
I could get back to you on that.
related to, they could run optical to somewhere and they could run coax, high frequency coax locally into the houses. I don't know what they're doing. I know they put a box in my yard. I saw the cables that went into the box. Nothing comes out because it's just a transit point. I haven't seen anything that goes into a house anywhere because they weren't doing that. They just buried the cable. But
Different contractors are doing different pieces of that work.
yeah, so my experience with the high frequency cable systems, the difference between optics and the electrical, it just looked like coax to me.
We can help you
Yep.
find out.
We can provide
I mean, it
pictures.
doesn't matter to me because I'm not hooked up to it, but they keep saying, oh, it's optical, but I went and looked. I didn't see any optical anywhere.
Fiber to the home.
Yeah, well,
Yes, it's advertised as optic fiber, and that was what the grant was for fiber.
Yeah.
But and like I
We're
I
not
don't know. So
We are not experts. We went in the field with them and looked, and they talked about how the fiber spliced off and how the optical cable did these things, and about how the signal doesn't degrade over fiber optical cables or whatever they're called as.
those things are all true in general.
I mean,
So-
there are strands that are in the middle. That is true because they've cut it open and we've looked at the strands. I don't really know what that means, but I think that means something to you.
Is the fiber supposed to go all the way to the home, or is it just to
Yes.
near the home? It is a whole way to.
Yes.
Is there a way we could check?
I can check.
Well,
There's a box in my yard. I can go out and look.
Infrastructure, yeah.
Officially check and make sure that everything's the way it's
We've got
supposed to
those
be, what we're paying
So
for.
I don't know exactly what they're probably selling capacity that is enabled by fiber. That doesn't mean fiber goes all the way through the system necessarily, unless that's the way they sold it. You can get that high quality, a high bandwidth coax over short distances, and you wouldn't know the difference between that and optical. And the optical might have to go into the feeder for that, where it branches out with coax. I don't really care because they're not serving me, but I just am curious because they keep preaching optical, and I go ahead and look at it, and I don't see any optical. But I
We
didn't,
can talk to you offline about that.
okay,
We've seen
We're
that,
glad to help you find out, but
well, it's just curiosity from my point, but I am curious.
so the speed is, right now they're selling 1 gig a second, and they have capacity for 10 gigs.
They have a package for 2 gigs too. They have a 2 gig
now, yeah.
package.
Not
No, I'm not for you right now, sorry.
I'm outside the footprint. No, it's fine, it's just curiosity from my standpoint.
That's all we have. Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Anybody have anything else you want to talk about? March meeting is on the 17th, same time, same place. And if there's nothing